in our previous episode of One Last Stint.
Hi guys, we're now at the grounds of the Angkor Temples. There's no other place I want to be in this leg of the journey. It's definitely the highlight of our trip here to Cambodia.
In this episode of One Last Stint, I came face to face with the star of the Angkor Temples, the Angkor Wat. When we speak about Cambodia, the impression that everyone has will be the amazing Angkor Wat, that ancient megalopolis that survived the ages, a structure that defies and continues to dumbfound modern architectural philosophies, but most of all, a structure that is today a monument and testimony of the once great Khmer Empire.
So it's just 5 minutes past 6, and directly in front of me right now is the amazing sunrise view of the Angkor Wat itself. I've got to come here since 5 o'clock in the morning to book myself a prime position in order to catch this amazing sunset. And was it worth waking up at 5 o'clock and park yourself here for an entire hour before you get to enjoy this amazing view? Absolutely. This is one of the most magnificent views that I've actually come across, and what makes it even much more better is the fact that you have the Angkor Temple, or rather the Angkor Wat Temple, just directly behind me. Amazing.
Having survived the throngs of tourists, I went on exploring the vast grounds of the Angkor Wat. The number of tourists rapidly declines after the sunrise and continues to dwindle as the sun rises to its peak. It is only then the faithfuls are rewarded with the beauty and charm of the Angkor Wat. Having the entire complex to almost myself, I cannot but set free my sense of exploration in this amazing and mysterious temple complex. There are 3 things on my checklist when visiting Angkor Wat. The first of which are the bas reliefs located at the first level of the temple. Intricate carvings that depicts and narrates both the mythological Hindu epics and a historical account of how King Suryavarman II came to power. At over 600 meters in length, the bas reliefs are intricately carved with up to 3 levels of depth, and perhaps the most mind-boggling of them all, the bas reliefs were once delicately covered in sheets of gold. I can only but imagine that this entire area would have been shimmering under the light of the fateful sun. The most famous carvings of them all will have to be the churning of the ocean of milk, the constant battle between good and evil, locked in a game of eternal tug-of-war over the elixir of immortality. Next, the second level, the crown jewels being the 4 amazing stilts that represents the Mount Meru, believed to be the center of the universe. Never in my life have I seen a physical structure mimicking the great Mount Meru, and to see this amazing structure in front of me is absolutely humbling. Till this day, there are no modern-day architectural texts that supports the physics of such construction, but yet it has been built, and to top it off, it survived the ages.
So I'm now in the Angkor Wat Temple, and a very common feature we are experiencing right now is the really steep steps. In fact, all the temples in Angkor itself have very steep steps. And to be honest with you, this is really taking it quite easy for me, because they have a scaffolding type steps which has been placed to make it easier for tourists to make their way up. But in actual fact, the steps, or rather the original steps made by the architect, are less than half a feet wide, and that is definitely smaller than my feet itself. And back then, for them to walk, they need to walk sideways, pretty much like the way I am doing it right now. But thanks to modern technology and making the temples more accessible to the general public, they have made the steps so much wider and making it so much easier for someone like me to make it all the way up there.
And last but not least,
I'm now at the center of the Angkor Wat Temple, and directly behind me is one of the most sacred and the most important location in the entire Angkor Wat Temple itself. Twice the height of London Tower, or rather the Tower of London, it is the place where the final resting place for King Suryavarman II. Now you must understand that kings spend their lifetime building their final resting place, and this is certainly quite an amazing location to be building your final resting place. Now there's one thing that is worth mentioning at this stage is there is actually a statue of a Buddha behind that, and King Suryavarman was never a Buddhist. He is in actual fact a Hindu. So it wasn't, the reason for this is because it wasn't until the late 15th century did the ruler, or rather the Khmer ruler, embrace Buddhism and started to place a Buddha at the final resting place of King Suryavarman II. Real shame.
After visiting the Angkor Wat temple, Livon and I went on exploring the other popular Angkor temples. The most remarkable one that we came across is in Taprom.
Now, if the Angkor Wat and the Bayon is a testimony of how truly amazing human architecture and engineering truly is, then I would say this one is definitely a testimony of how patient and truly powerful Mother Nature is.
Mother Nature is indeed a force of nature to be reckoned with, patiently and constantly tightening its grips in effort to reclaim the land that was once hers. We were completely naked by the end of our third day, but there is just one more place we just have to visit, and that is Ban Tre Srei. Ban Tre Srei is considered the most delicate and intricate temple of all. To top it off, the most well preserved as well. You just have to be there to experience and appreciate its intricacies. Until then, you just have to be content with what we have captured on video. Well, that's pretty much it in our travels around the Angkor temples. We hope you've had as much fun watching it as we had exploring them. Until then, here's a short clip of my feeble attempt on an ancient Khmer instrument.
Well, not all touts in the Angkor temples are big annoyance. Case in point, I just came across one of them touts who sold me this little bamboo instrument called the Angkor in traditional Khmer language, and it reminds me so much of the opening scene in the popular travel TV series The Globe Trekker, and I'm pretty darn chuffed getting my hands on this little Angkor instrument for a mere $2 US. Okay, and that's pretty much all the time we have left for this episode of One Last Stint. Now, if you really enjoyed the episode, don't forget to leave us a comment down below. And if you're keen to wait for our next episode to come out and be notified as soon as it becomes available, click on the subscribe button over there. And if you'd like to check out our previous episodes on One Last Stint, right here. That's pretty much it, boys. So have a safe travel, and I'll see you in our next episode.